Is this the conclusion of Heavy D's journey from the Diesel Brothers' fame? Heavy D, whose real name is Dave Sparks, climbed from being an everyday enthusiast of automotive engines in Utah to turning into a widely recognized figure. In a fiercely competitive TV landscape filled with programs such as Street Outlaws and Fast and Loud, Heavy D carved out his niche, mesmerizing viewers with his astonishing and inventive vehicle transformations. Yet, concealed beneath those impressive creations, a catastrophe had been simmering for quite some time. This turmoil has engulfed Heavy D entirely, demolished his enterprise, siphoned off a substantial portion of his wealth, and compelled him to abandon his greatest passion. It's the very cause behind the abrupt cancellation of Diesel Brothers. So, what truly transpired with Heavy D Sparks? Is he capable of bouncing back and crafting a fresh narrative for himself? His supporters aren't anticipating this twist at all. Heavy D entered the world in a modest household in Salt Lake City, Utah. Although the family struggled financially, they possessed an abundance of discipline, diligence, and tenacity, largely due to his rigorous father, a veteran of the United States Army. The military released Heavy D's dad after diagnosing him with a brain tumor, granting him only weeks to survive. Those weeks stretched into years as Heavy D's father battled on, but life remained challenging. At one stage, the family endured homelessness since they couldn't afford housing. Nevertheless, affection flourished within their home, and despite his strictness, his father offered comfort and warmth. In this structured yet supportive setting, Heavy D grew up as an inquisitive youngster. One element sparked his interest above all: mechanical engines. This wasn't a fleeting fascination like many children experience. Heavy D was utterly captivated by machinery. As a teen, his world revolved around engines. He'd devote endless hours fiddling with dirt bikes, ATVs, and pickups. He favored hands-on work with motors over sitting in lectures. School felt tedious to him, and he often stated that he gained more knowledge wielding a tool than holding a pencil in class. Indeed, his zeal for mechanics led him to dedicate most of his high school years to courses in automotive repair, metal joining, and custom fabrication. His parents contributed to nurturing his automotive passion as well. Following his father's discharge from the service, the dad started installing vehicle audio systems. This inspired Heavy D, already fixated on automobiles. When his father became too ill to continue, his mother stepped in to handle the installations. Upon finishing high school, Heavy D sought employment, and his buddy Rich Eggett provided an opportunity. Rich operated a rental service for all-terrain vehicles and motorcycles, employing Heavy D as the operations overseer. Heavy D remained dedicated, absorbing every lesson the job offered. However, formal learning stayed important, so at age 21, he joined a university program. His father instilled in him principles of persistence and toughness, for which Heavy D remained eternally thankful. Heavy D's dad overcame a stroke while living with the tumor. If his father could endure such ordeals, surely Heavy D could tackle higher education. Tragically, his father wasn't around forever. After years of health battles, he passed away when Heavy D was 21. This loss created a profound emptiness in Heavy D. But amid the grief, he recognized the need to endure and support his loved ones. He resolved to achieve greater success than before, yet he doubted college was the route. He felt out of place there from the start, so after one term, he dropped out. This bereavement marked a turning point, influencing the direction he pursued next. Heavy D opted to join his uncle's firm, which handled construction projects throughout Utah. He served as an operator of large machinery, feeling more comfortable than during his brief college stint. The labor was demanding physically, but Heavy D never grumbled, and he quickly distinguished himself. Unlike his colleagues, Heavy D harbored ambitious visions. He wasn't satisfied with mere hourly pay. He aimed for much grander accomplishments and constantly scanned for new prospects. Managing heavy gear was already tiring, But that didn't deter Heavy D from taking on a side role as marketing director for Rich Eggett, who had shifted to owning a timepiece brand called Rockwell Watches. This experience motivated him further. He chose to invest in himself, aspiring to establish his own venture and chase endeavors that ignited his enthusiasm. Heavy D sought to seize command of his destiny and unlock his full capabilities. Merely a few years into his uncle's employ, Heavy D initiated his personal enterprise, an earth-moving operation. He cleared land parcels, leveled pathways, and relocated soil. The venture grew, evolving to include constructing stone barriers, cascading water features, and various landscaping tasks. Heavy D grasped the essence of promotion, knowing that to expand, his craftsmanship must shine. Thus, he immersed himself fully, often laboring 12 hours daily. His excellence prompted clients to refer him widely, leading to a steady influx of projects. Still, this was distant from Heavy D's ultimate dream of engineering colossal diesel-powered beasts. How did he transition from construction labor to fabricating enormous contraptions? Heavy D maintains a devout lifestyle, actively participating in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly known as the LDS faith. In his youth, he undertook a 2-year missionary assignment in the Amazon areas of Bolivia and Brazil. That experience solidified the lessons from his father regarding service, empathy, and industriousness. Heavy D persisted in attending religious gatherings, and at one such occasion, he encountered David Kiley, later famed as Diesel Dave. Sharing a deep commitment to faith, they forged a close bond swiftly. When Heavy D launched his digging firm, he recruited Dave in 2008 to oversee and maintain the apparatus, along with 2 additional assistants. Heavy D sustained his groundwork business, but his ardor for mechanical powertrains intensified relentlessly. He could no longer suppress it, and in 2009, soon after tying the knot, Heavy D secured a dealership permit. He founded Diesel Sellers, establishing a pre-owned automobile dealership. He dealt in vehicles, but this wasn't his lifelong vision. Heavy D envisioned a firm dedicated to repairing and personalizing rides. Gradually, he shifted from sales to restorations and ultimately to alterations. To scale up, though, he required reliable aid. The challenge: whom could he depend on? Topping his list was Diesel Dave. They aligned perfectly in hobbies, both devout, enamored with anything mechanical, and particularly fond of gigantic haulers. Beyond shared interests, they balanced each other ideally. Heavy D embodied the entrepreneurial spirit with bold visions and exceptional promotional talents. Dave infused levity and a knack for dramatic presentation. Heavy D established Sparks Motors to craft bespoke diesel rigs, rendering them distinctive before flipping them for gain. Together, they devised wild concepts, pushing the boundaries of their revamped vehicles and executing perilous feats. Then, inspiration struck. They could construct their machines and broadcast the process globally, blending amusement with advertising. This occurred during YouTube's nascent phase, so they launched a channel and started recording their assemblies. Early efforts were crude, unsteady footage and disorganized scenes, but they were novices enjoying themselves. Amid the imperfections, their content exuded sincerity, authenticity, and fervor. This genuineness, coupled with audacious antics, endeared them to watchers who wouldn't relish viewing massive rigs leaping over sedans. They epitomized U.S. trucking heritage, portraying as valiant outsiders achieving the extraordinary. They delivered unfiltered excitement and adrenaline that spectators yearned for. By 2014, they elevated their game with a clip of a rig towing a 10-ton load, which exploded in popularity, propelling them toward stardom. The web had witnessed the emergence of improbable stars like skaters, jokers, and daily vloggers, but gearheads doubling as tricksters? That was novel terrain, and Heavy D with Dave ruled it. Buoyed by their momentum, Heavy D and Dave grew bolder in their designs. A standout creation that attained mythic repute was the Mega Ram Runner 3, unveiled at the 2014 SEMA exhibition, garnering immense acclaim for its colossal scale and ingenious design. Even now, enthusiasts hail it as among the most legendary diesel masterpieces displayed at SEMA. Unbeknownst to them, each such triumph edged chaos closer. Heavy D and Dave pressed on with their pursuits. But here's the intriguing part. They prioritized enjoyment over profits. This mindset enabled daring promotional strategies, which I'll detail shortly. By emphasizing fun rather than finances, they embraced adventurous artistic choices. One notable instance was a 2016 gag involving a rig. They linked the exhaust to a restroom, funneling fumes inside where a pal was occupied. Heavy D and Dave chuckled heartily. The online community adored it, and even Jay Leno deemed it hilarious. Leno spotlighted it as the most amusing trick he'd witnessed, amplified by the vehicular element. However, one faction found no humor in it, and they're the culprits behind Heavy D's downfall. We'll delve into that momentarily. Leno extended an invitation to his program, The Tonight Show, featuring them in his "Prank You Very Much" bit. Suddenly, they transcended digital fame to mainstream renown, yet they were oblivious that their ascent had just commenced. Post-appearance, Discovery Channel contacted Heavy D, proposing a series centered on him and Dave. The network boasted expertise in automotive programming, having triumphed with Fast and Loud and Street Outlaws. Heavy D and Diesel Dave promised a novel, bolder, more intense vibe. Perhaps, had Discovery foreseen the escalating risks, they might have reconsidered the partnership. The program soared to acclaim. The pair amplified their YouTube antics, converting standard diesel haulers into freakish, singular marvels while staging insane exploits. Viewers relished the dynamic between Heavy D and Dave. Their playful exchanges and relatable, chatty interactions drew people in. The team resembled kin more than staff. Swiftly, Diesel Brothers emerged as a smash sensation, but a looming issue arose. Heavy D overlooked it and forged ahead. As their notoriety ballooned, Heavy D explored innovative marketing tactics for his brands. He initiated prize contests via diesel sellers, offering fans opportunities to claim the bespoke rigs showcased on air. These promotions were brilliant, elevating the show's allure. Audiences felt integrated into the clan. Envision not merely observing a behemoth truck's birth on TV, but potentially possessing it. This boosted Heavy D and Dave's fame further and alleviated some pressures as troubles mounted. In 2016, coinciding with the show's debut, the Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment, UPHE, filed a lawsuit against Diesel Brothers for $118 million. They charged the group with recurrent federal violations. If Diesel Brothers indeed flouted regulations, why no arrests? Did authorities deliberately ignore it? The alleged infractions pertain to environmental statutes. Supposedly, the dark exhaust plumes from their altered rigs constituted highly noxious contamination. UPHE alleged Diesel Brothers contaminated the atmosphere, contributing to surges in respiratory ailments and cardiac problems. These weren't unfounded claims. UPHE had conducted thorough probes, compiling every uploaded video as proof. As a capstone, they acquired a tweaked 2013 Ford F-250 for $43,000 from Heavy D, then subjected it to impartial evaluation. Results revealed it emitted 36-fold the toxins and 21-fold the particulates versus an unmodified version. This evidence hammered Heavy D, plunging him and Dave into severe turmoil. Do you hold Heavy D accountable for environmental harm and public illnesses? His admirers disagreed, rallying in his support. They savored the show's spectacle and desired its continuation. The conflict polarized. Fans viewed UPHE as pushing governmental curbs on automotive freedoms, eroding truck enthusiast traditions. UPHE saw themselves as guardians of ecology and vulnerable populations. Supporters also perceived UPHE as harassing relatable figures like Heavy D and Dave. The duo didn't remain passive. They asserted no intent to infringe laws, claiming on-show modifications served entertainment, not routine driving. Does this imply Diesel Brothers was scripted? Are the contests phony, since winners would operate those vehicles? Insiders labeled the suit a persecution. The judiciary rebuked UPHE for demanding $118 million over merely 19 rigs and roughly 100 components. What began as a truck-centric spectacle devolved into a convoluted saga, gradually depleting Heavy D's mental and fiscal reserves. Matters escalated in June 2018 when a Utah-based emissions examiner from Davis County delivered damning statements against Diesel Brothers, exposing illegal alterations on one rig. The presiding judge mandated Heavy D and Dave cease such practices henceforth. Crushed but unyielding, Heavy D maintained his tweaks targeted off-road applications, believing them permissible, and professed collaboration with the EPA for adherence. He proposed gratis air purification initiatives in the Wasatch area and no-cost emissions fixes for underprivileged individuals. UPHE refused concessions, and in March 2020, they prevailed. The court imposed an $850,000 penalty on Heavy D and affiliates for numerous infractions. Stunned by the sum, Heavy D appealed in April 2020. By 2021, the appeal failed, adding nearly $930,000 in attorney costs. The 6-year ordeal tallied around $2 million for Heavy D. Beyond finances, it reshaped perceptions. Heavy D and Dave morphed from jovial tinkerers into emblems of debates on ecology, automobiles, and liberties. For Discovery's leadership, the scrutiny proved overwhelming. They hesitated to sustain the platform. Fans detected shifts too. The constructions lacked former extravagance. Heavy D liaised incessantly with Discovery's attorneys, who vetted episodes pre-broadcast to evade breaches. This oversight altered the vibe. Creativity was stifled. See you in the next video.